hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. In my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling me. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Paranormal Portal, Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and thank you all for being here. It's wonderful to see so many of you just running in the door as soon as the lights went on. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's it's something I'll never get used to, but it's a wonderful kind of thing. You know, it's like, wow, people are really paying attention. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who have checked out the podcasts. Today was by far our biggest day ever for downloads and people checking out the shows. So thank you all. If that's some of you that are listening now, thank you so much. And if you haven't, please do. Please check out the podcasts available on Pandora, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, everywhere, I guess. I mean, really, like I have a list of like 30 some different services that our podcast is on, and it's pretty amazing. And a special thanks to Revolver for making all this possible. Revolver Podcast, of course, is the parent company that has signed the portal for podcasting. And so we're really humbled by that, and it's really excited to see it growing. It's exciting to see it growing, rather. So thanks for being here, guys, and hope you're all ready, because it's time for bed. Oh, next week is a full moon. Well, speaking of next week, while I'm thinking about it, remember next week we will have Mrs. Deborah Varner here on a Friday night. Or is that this week? That's this week. This week on Friday night, we will have our wonderful Deb Varner here doing free psychic readings to callers of the show. So please, if you're interested in getting a peek ahead at what's coming up in your life, whether it's financial, job-related, or romantic, or otherwise, call in. It's a great time, and she does a great job. It's just every time she's on, I'm just more and more thoroughly impressed with this lady. She's just amazing, and she's doing it for free, ladies and gentlemen. So it comes from the heart. But I see we already got a call on the board here, and this looks like it's time to check and see what's going on out in the world. So 870, is this Virginia? You're on the air.
Hi, Brant. It's Virginia.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, that podcast today was the bomb, baby.
Oh, really? Thank you very much.
It was awesome. I
Oh,
like them all, but today was the dark entities, right?
yep. The shadow people and dark entities. Yep.
Yes, yes. I really like that. Y'all did your homework. It was great.
Oh, thanks a bunch. That's good to hear. And I go on a limb sometimes, injecting my own ideas, but I really think that I'm I'm right. I guess so. That's why I do it. But and that sounds really funny. But it's just a lot of it. Just you know. I think there's a lot of information out there, but I think there's a lot of bad information out there. And so I think it's part of the portal is just to try to correct what I can, what I think is not right. And it doesn't mean I'm absolutely right. It's just I don't think some of that information is right out there. So I try to put out the information that I believe is. And thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I really did. Don did great too with what he brought, into it. What he found, I just thought it was, really good. It was a lot to what I have experienced, Um, and can I go into that just a little bit?
Oh, please, by all means, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I had told y'all once before about going down in that basement. The woman knew that, like, her husband's nephew had died, and she figured that was him, and it was. And there was a dark entity down there of some sort, and it had a little bit of a shape, maybe, I don't know, like it really didn't, but it was very dark, like, some things you might think about, you can kind of see through it a little bit, but this was just really thick darkness, if that makes any sense to you or anybody out there. It's just
Yeah.
more evil, I guess I would say,
Right.
And with her, I said, you're the one that's got to get rid of that. That was following her around, and I did give her ways that would help her to get rid of it, but it was on her. And so I think Dawn brought up a little bit of that too, and what he was talking about, and like y'all talk about how things can get attached to you.
Yes.
One thing that I saw before was I had this friend that, when I first met her, I was told by my spirit guides that she was associating with another woman, that she really needed to get away from that woman, that she was sort of a negative woman. And, of course, I didn't know this woman. I'm just telling her what I heard.
Sure.
And she knew exactly who I was talking about. And so one day this woman had came to her house. Well, I didn't know all this. She just called me one day. Well, she used to come over all the time. And she said, out of the corner of my eye, I'm seeing like black wispy things. And first thing I was like, who's been to your house? And she had said that woman had been to her house. I said, well, she left something there. She left some of her negative energy there. And I said, I don't have to come to your house and go off to your house. I'm going to come over there. I'm going to stand at the door with the door open. And I told her, I said, look, you have to get rid of all this. You go cleanse your house. So we got like a white candle and, to represent the light of God. And I think she had her Bible and stuff. And I said, just go through your house and just tell it to leave, tell it to get out. It's not welcome there.
Right.
And I stood at that door, and I was amazed at the stuff going through that door.
Wow.
It just about blew my mind. It was like over and over. It was these little black wispy things. I can't really explain. There just was no shape really to them, but I could just see them just going through. And I learned then, this was something new to me, that people can leave a little bit of their negativity wherever they go, and that energy can form and just all, a little here, a little there, and it could just get bigger and bigger. And what I got from that was it could create a darker, more bigger type negative energy that can cause a lot of havoc in your life. This woman that had it following her around, not this where I'm talking about the whiskey stuff, but the first woman, she had everything going wrong in her life. She just couldn't catch a break. And I said, you've got to change it. It's your life. You have to change it.
Right.
You know, you have to be the one. So I learned that by all the little, when the other woman was like, something was there. And that's when it kind of all started making sense to me, how this stuff can form into something bigger and with more power, I guess you'd say.
Well, I've heard Amy Allen of the Dead Files make a mention of similar things that, negative fragments can over time coalesce into a consciousness. What would normally just be a negative energy can become sentient, according to her. And I thought that was really interesting. And I don't doubt it. I mean, if anything you feed becomes more powerful. So, if you feed negativity into the negative, then it becomes more powerful. If you feed positivity, then of course the positivity becomes more powerful. It's kind of like the two wolves saying with is going around, real popular meme that apparently is based on a Cherokee legend or parable, and which of the two wolves wins, whichever one you feed, and so I think that can be in our environment as well, not necessarily only within us.
Absolutely. And I've heard that before about the wolves, and I've always agreed with it for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm probably the most positive person around here. I'm like, what is wrong with people nowadays? They just let stuff get to them. You got to shake it off and find something good. I had a horse step on my toe the other day, and I've got 3 forged toes, but I was grateful that it wasn't my foot.
Yeah, no kidding. Right. I think what's going on, and this, I don't mean to get way out there on stuff, but I think that there are certain bodies of influence in our world, in our modern world, that seem to thrive on sensationalism. And of course, sensationalism sells news stories. It sells viewership, and so the entire focus of all of our medias have turned to such negativity and horridness. And it's no wonder people are so supercharged right now, because they're viewing a world that seems all but lost. I mean, it just seems like the world is a lost cause, because that's being continually reinforced into them over and over every night when they watch the news, or they, whatever media source happens to be. And so I think that it's no wonder that people are so wound up anymore, because they're being, whether they know it or not, they're being programmed to be wound up, because that's, whether it's an agenda or whether it's just sensationalism or whatever you want to call it. And I don't pretend to know for sure, but it's clear when you look at what is reported, what are people talking about. It's all of the most highly charged emotional stuff. And here's the thing: we as individuals, I think, we have addictive tendencies, and we become, look at the sugar consumption, look at, drugs and chemicals and things like that. I mean, people are prone to consume at a reckless pace, but I think that also goes for emotion. People look for that, it becomes like an endorphin release to get upset. I mean, they just desire, they can't wait to get to the news to see what they should be mad at next, and it's just almost an illness, and it really troubles me.
Yes, I agree. And they can't wait to get on Facebook and all that stuff.
Right, exactly. And I mean, there's
looking for the drama.
Right. Looking for the drama and looking for that emotional charge that it brings, because, I think so many people are just in such a state of confusion, and they are prone to be, for lack of a better term, manipulated. And unfortunately, so many of us are. And I find myself falling into that same trap. And I got to remind myself, like, wait. I believe that we're all creator beings. And this may or may not be paranormal related, but it's spiritual related. We are creator beings. We create our experiences. And if you believe the world's going to hell, the world's going to hell. But if you believe the world is wonderful and people in it are beautiful and there's hope and it can, things can be okay, then maybe it really can be. We program our experiences whether we know it or not.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And also the health of our body as well.
Exactly.
If you fall in that trap, going to the doctor, oh, well, I need all these pills. You don't need all those pills.
Mm-hmm.
You can heal yourself. If you don't know how, there's lots of, information out there,
Right.
Spiritual groups and everything that can help, and just prayer. My friend just sent me a message about this friend of hers that she didn't know he did healing at church. I just read the message before you came on, and how so many people were getting healed just because they're praying for them. And
Right.
he said, you don't have to be over the in my congregation. It can be over the phone. It can be however. Just you got to believe.
Right.
You got to change your mindset for sure. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't watch TV. I don't hardly ever listen to music. I watch YouTube. I watch y'all. That's about it. I don't I'm not on Facebook. None of that stuff. I keep my mind as clear as possible.
Right. And and
that's what's good for me.
Honestly, I'm very passionate about the paranormal, but and there's a reason that I like the Paranormal Portal to be fun because it can be dark. It can be pretty brooding and dark and terrifying. So I like to keep it as light as I can because I think that's important as well. Not that a good scare is good every once in a while too. Don't get me wrong, but I just try to surround my experience as much as I can with positivity, and I don't always succeed. I fail miserably just like everybody else, but I'm just consciously aware of the need for that, and so I always strive to do that in as many ways in my life as I can.
Yes, and I love the fact that you stated in the podcast, and you've stated it on here before too, that you believe that 99% of the hauntings are not evil demonic hauntings. They're just confused,
right?
Ghost spirits that are left here.
Sure.
And so it's not always a bad thing. There's so many that need help. Yeah. I have something. You just reminded me of something.
Mm-hmm.
If I can tell y'all a little something more, unless you're needing to get just another phone call or something.
Nope, you're the only one on the line so far, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, Jamie's not here to tell y'all, but I took her to the river.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna cry, y'all. That boy crossed over because she asked him to.
Oh, that's perfect. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I just, she's going home now. And we wanted to call last week and let her tell you. But, my dog was sick and everything then. But, just one day I was like, I'm going to take her up to the river. And it was just me and her. And something told me on the way up there to have her ask him if he would cross over. And so I told her, And so we got to the river. And he showed up, and we were walking down the trail. And, this time she was kind of sad, though, because she couldn't see him or hear him. When used to, she could see ghosts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this time she couldn't, and she wanted to.
Oh,
so
that's encouraging, though.
So him and her, they just kind of carried on a conversation. She asked him questions, and I let him answer through me, and it was just really neat. Like I said, this boy was just like if you were out at the lake and some guy come up talking to you, just carrying on conversation, he was just as nice as can be. And he's like, I like this kid, And so I asked him, I said, hey, you think you might want to cross over today? He said, no, ma'am. A little bit later, Jamie asked him. He said, well, I'll think about it since you asked. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, that's awesome.
But, it was really cool. And so she was the sweetest thing ever. She just explained to him about heaven and it was really beautiful. It was. He got down, she just told me, if you ask for forgiveness, God will forgive you. And he did. He got on his knees and he prayed. And next thing we know, a big angel showed up, and it was just hovering there. It was just the most beautiful sight to see him walk to that angel and grab that angel's hand.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well,
And
well,
it is so wonderful. I was so proud of her. Yeah.
well, give her a big hug
Maybe
from
she'll show
us.
up on here tonight.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But well done,
Yeah.
Jamie, if you're listening, wherever you are. We're very proud of you, and that's a huge thing. And I hope that that gentleman's journey is brilliant. But what a great start. That's pretty.
Yeah, it was fabulous. And he said something that and I don't even understand this. When she asked him again about crossing over, he said, "Yeah, I think I will. My job here is done." And
Oh.
I just kind of shook my head, and I was like, what in the world, What was his job? And so I asked him, but then that was kind of like they were, she was talking to him and he was praying, the angel also. I never got an answer. I have no idea. Like, I'm even more confused now because we're talking about a earthbound spirit,
Hmm.
and he was ready to go now because his job is done. And I'm like, well, what was his job? Was it something to do with Jamie? But how would he know that she was even coming?
Well,
I don't know. I can't even imagine what he was talking about.
it may be, or maybe he felt like it was his job to watch out for those negative things too. You never know that you guys got rid of.
Oh yeah, that little boy. Maybe that was it because he
Hmm.
was. Well, I don't know. It's so confusing.
Yeah.
I love learning everything I can about what's going on in the spirit world because it is so much like our real world, that we're alive and our friends have issues and we just want to help them and,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really
But
wonderful.
go ahead.
I just said that's really wonderful. I'm glad that all of that worked out so well, and it's kind of bittersweet, I suppose, because it was kind of neat that he was there and you could just go visit and catch up and he was communicative, but I guess in the greater picture it was certainly his time to go. So that's a beautiful ending.
Well, we were leaving. We got in a truck. We were leaving. And I said, well, I hope he's happy in heaven now. I'm sure he is. All of a sudden, I heard, I am. I'm very happy. And I was like, what? He's already coming through talking? How is this possible? You know,
Sure. Yeah.
I saw, he showed me that his dad and his granddad was there. And his dad came through, and I could see them hugging, and he was saying, thank you for helping my son get here where he belongs. And he was just hugging. They were so happy.
Oh,
And
cool.
it made my day. And I was just so proud of Jamie.
Yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
all, we all are as well. So definitely congratulate her for us as well.
Yeah. And I'll let her listen to this so that she can hear what you have to say about it. So, all right.
All right, my lady. Well, thank you for calling in. It's wonderful to hear
All
from you.
right.
Okay. Have a great night.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Very cool. That's a great final chapter to that story. It's always nice when they end well. Not all of them do, but at least this one did. That's really cool. So I've got some stories ready to roll. Hot off the presses, ladies and gentlemen. Hot off the presses. So I'm about to roll them out for you and hope you enjoy it. And oddly enough, the first one is from the state of Virginia. Virginia's coming up nearly as much as Idaho. So I don't know what's going on in Virginia either, I guess. But apparently there's a lot of things going on. And Nick, it's good to see you. And Sean, it was great to see you. I know that you had stopped in at least momentarily. I hope you're still here, but missed you, brother. And good to see you're still coming by and checking it out. Give me a holler when you can. I got to talk to you about something else when you have time. So anyway, let's get going here on some stories. But Virginia again. Okay. I just wanted to share some things that have been going on in my house that with people that I knew would appreciate it. I guess that means the the paranormal community. Before I start, let me give you some background information. My family and I live in a very historic town in central Virginia called Fredericksburg. It's really big on all the Civil War battles that happened in this area, and we have lived here for well over 10 years, and we've done some research on our property, and although it's not a battlefield, soldiers from both sides camped out on our land on several different occasions, and I believe that most of what goes on is due to poltergeist activity and not actual hauntings, but we've seen apparitions from time to time, and also the people who owned the house before us, the first owners, fought all the time and eventually got divorced, and they left a lot of negative energy behind them when they left. Well, I have 10 years worth of experiences, but I'll try to highlight the main ones. When we first moved in, my dog refused to go to the basement. She barks and growls at the basement door at random times, and one day, when she was doing this, we heard a huge bang down there. Sounded like someone was throwing all of our unpacked boxes around, but when we went to investigate, everything was as it should be. My dog won't go down there unless we make her, and she's terrified of it. The scary part about my dog barking is she's an Australian barkless dog. She never ever barks. My mom is very musical, and she has a lot of instruments on our first floor, and we hear her playing a lot when she isn't home. We've chalked it up to the walls releasing noise that they have absorbed, but never does it when she is around. Also, the toilet in the bedroom will flush by itself when no one is up there. Now comes the really creepy stuff. Our first floor is very open with the kitchen, dining room, and rec room just flowing into one another, and one night we were watching TV and two lamps that hang on the wall in our breakfast nook flew off the wall. They didn't fall. It was as if they were thrown. The cords were even yanked out of the wall. No one was in the kitchen, but several people saw it happen. One night a few months ago, we were woken up in the middle of the night by all of our fire alarms going off, and there was no fire, and the alarms we had didn't have carbon monoxide testers, so the batteries didn't need to be replaced either. After unhooking all of them from the wall and removing the batteries, the alarms were still going strong. We had to wrap them in blankets and hide them in a closet in our basement so that we could go back to sleep. Jeez. Yeah, well, they have capacitors in them, and so I'm sure it takes a while for those to drain off. But yeah, that's horrible. My sister has seen a man in a gray coat with only one arm walk through our backyard and then vanish at the property line. And when my nephew was 2, we were all in the backyard, and he asked us why there was a man buried back there. And we asked him more questions about it, but he refused to answer and started playing again. One time when I was about 16, my mom and I were in the foyer fighting, full out screaming at each other. I don't even remember what it was about. The chandelier above us started swinging back and forth really hard, and 2 bulbs burst. Wow. I felt and seen an oppressive black shadowy figure in my room, and I could move and speak when I saw it, but it frightened me so much that I didn't sleep in there until I put up protective measures. One of those measures I read about a while ago, you get glass orbs and paint the inside silver while whispering blessings over it, and then you hang the orbs by every entrance to your room or home, and they block out evil spirits. This actually worked until about a year ago, and I felt the presence again and had to sleep on the couch. The next day when I went into my room, the mounting and wires for the orbs were there, but the orbs were missing. I never did find them. They were just gone. I haven't been able to sleep in there much since, and I stay at my boyfriend's or I sleep on the couch. The few times that I stayed in there, I've been plagued by horrible nightmares. The only part that frightens me is the thing in my room. I'll be completely awake when I see him. For some reason, I keep wanting to call it him. I don't know if most of this is poltergeist activity that my mom, my sisters, and I have created with our own energy, but I know some of it we can't possibly be doing. Time for water number 2. That has a cap, mind you. My other cap went missing when I was flexing. much better. All right. Well, that's a great story, and of course those grounds are so supercharged with energy from centuries of different traumas and things going on, especially the Civil War. I don't know, that whole ground is just like a big battery, I think. All right, what's next? We're going to California, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're off to next. And I got another call. So let me get to the call first. And this is Mrs. Diane. How you doing, Miss Diane?
Hey, hi.
Hey, hi to
It,
you.
it, glad to see you back, Sean. Love you all. And the other D, who is now Dill. Big deal? Are you a big deal? Anyway, okay, real fast. I wanted to say, those of you who are interested in, I'm not sure they're hearing me when I go to another show and try to say this. There is a guy named Damon T. Berry who made movies called, or videos for YouTube called Knowledge of the Forever Time.
Okay.
And he also, like some people we know, touched a stone in Egypt and got a download with all this information, and obviously was meant to do it. But he had all of these other issues because he'd been he'd not been religious at all, schooled in any religion at all, but then somebody saved his soul, and he started, I did one of those soul-saving things, and he started having all kinds of problems, and he thought he was talking to God. Huh. And I dropped him some comments that is not God. He's saying, and God, wanted me to write another gospel, that he was supposed to write another gospel, and the experiences he was relating were absolutely horrendous. And I said, that's not God. This big being you were talking to, and these beings that he was talking about being harassed by angels, by what looked like angels to him.
Oh.
And I wrote in the comments, I said, darling, those were not, we know what those are. We fight those, we drop kick those things out of this reality. Those are not God and angels, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Those are parasites, soul-sucking parasites, okay? But then he ended up TI. So you can't even hardly contact this guy.
TI.
He has to keep moving. He can't. It's like,
this
guy's life is just.
He ended up what? I don't understand. TI.
Ended up a targeted individual.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I didn't.
I mean, he can't get help from the police or anything when people harass him.
Oh.
He's a targeted individual.
Okay.
It's horrible, and. So, and really what happened was the last thing, and you got to find it, it's called Knowledge of the Forever Time. I was trying to figure out how to help this guy. I was trying to leave him comments. I got so desperate, I said, maybe you should look up David Wilcock and Corey Good and see if they'll help you get protection. I don't know who to contact about this. But he was saying that he used to be a guest. He is a very brilliant man.
Mm-hmm.
And his series, Knowledge of the Forever Time, is a brilliant piece of work, really. But obviously, something terrible has happened to him because in the eighth, I believe it was the eighth, the final episode.
Okay.
He had so much trouble putting it out that, I mean, he got all kinds of hassles, and then that also was that was just before he became a targeted individual. So if you get a chance to see this stuff, go and see it before it's gone, and we can't find it anymore on YouTube. I don't know how long it'll last, but there's a lot of great information there, and you know me, I always try to bring you something new, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so he talks about a lot of things that you'd find very interesting. So, but I don't know how long we're going to have him with us at this rate.
Oh.
It's very sad what happened to him. And also, we got to be very careful, and that's why some people are talking about this like it's a game, is because they don't want to be caught into that. They don't want to be shut down like that. So, I can't blame people for standing back a little bit and trying to put it in terms that are a little safer, some of the stuff we talk about. But, you can't blame them. But, yet, some people get away with it. I don't know how. Some people don't.
Right.
So, anyway, the other thing I was going to say, those of you who know all about the Great Lakes and the Great Lakes Triangle, guess what? We had an earthquake under Lake Erie today.
Did you really? Oh, wow.
We did. And then, this was on another channel that keeps track of things like this. And I think it was Into Thin Air. I'll give him a call out. Into Thin Air channel. He was also showing that about that time, or like right after a helicopter crashed into a building in New York, in Manhattan.
Oh my God.
And then there was also a swarm of earthquakes. It was just, we got some shaking up going on because me and my friend Paul were doing some stuff today, and we were wondering why we were feeling so foggy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am very sensitive to stuff that happens in the world, too. I mean, if you're real connected to nature and strange stuff is going on with the earth,
mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel funny when stuff happens. You're gonna get early warnings and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure that if anything was about to hit here, I would feel it before it happened. But it seems like a lot of these times, what happens is you get kind of a foggy head and you can't think right and almost like a head cold, but it's not. That's what happened before 9/11 too. So if you're a psychic and you start getting that and you don't know why it is and it's not a head cold, it may be something is getting ready to happen, and you should look around and see. Make sure the animals are still there.
Right.
If the animals have deserted, then you know something's really coming.
Yeah, that could be.
Right. I don't know what it means, but I know we don't get very many quakes in Ohio. It's not a high earthquake zone. And yet, there's been a couple quakes in the last, must be like 10 years. When I was a kid, I never heard of them.
Oh, there it
never
is.
heard of us having a quake.
So it was a 4.0 earthquake in Ohio. Yeah. I'm going to put this on the screen so everybody can see it. I just pulled it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's right there and right on the edge too, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like really near there. I didn't feel it, but I was weird and dizzy all day. Well, I'm always weird, but I was kind of really dizzy and I'm always weird. Okay,
We love you.
I can't help that.
You're kind of weird. Don't worry.
Thank you. Weird pride, I say.
Absolutely.
There's a T-shirt. Weird pride, portal pride.
Well, there you go. There's a new one.
I'm gonna have to make that shirt and send it to you. No, I got designs for you. I gotta send you. I keep forgetting. I love you too. Yes, I love you too. But anyway, I don't know if anybody else gets these things. Please let me know if you do. It'd be nice if we could see a pattern to this.
Now, how far away from that? How far away from that quake do you live? What part of Ohio are you in?
About an hour.
Wow, did you hear that?
It's about an hour north of me.
I'm getting a weird feedback.
Cleveland's about an hour north, and Cleveland's right on the edge of that lake.
Huh. Can you guys in the chat hear the feedback?
I don't have it on, so it wouldn't be from me.
It's not from you. It's just my own voice is coming back at me just suddenly, and it's like lower or something weird. No, I guess they're not hearing it in the chat, so it's just in my own ears. Okay. Well, it's done now
That's
too. I don't even hear it anymore. It was just a couple sentences came right back to me, my own words, but in a lower tone. So different. But it's the portal.
I don't know. Maybe they're playing with us. Somebody's playing with us, but that's just tough.
That's
Uh,
that's just the par for the course here on the portal.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
So
might be playing with us. Anyway, you guys, there's so much. I can't even. God, I got it. Like I said, I got to get this stuff together and get this on the show on the road so that we can document some of this. But honest to God, we have had so much from mud flood to. I mean, did I tell you about Roger finding a dragon the size of the mountain range
yes.
in oh my God.
Yeah, you had mentioned that, and that's pretty intense.
Incredibly huge.
Yeah, it's hard to
I,
know. Hard to know what
I
happened here before like our modern civilization came. But I'm sure there's a whole lot of story more than what we understand of history. I'm sure so many things have
I
gone on.
am certain of it. I
Yeah.
am certain. And is there a reason why we call because Roger's saying it sounds like there's a reason we call things certain names. Like for instance, a rock face.
Okay.
Some of these things were so big, or a mountain face were so big that their face could be a mountain.
Hmm.
And some of these things were so big that their bodies are mountain ranges, and some of these things are so big that you can that some of the caves are body cavities of theirs.
Perhaps those are the
So
those are the
it's
titans.
really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, Titan size.
You never know.
So I mean, we gotta wonder what the heck was going on here, and what would we be to these people? If you think about it, wouldn't we look like ants?
So you've heard of
And
the theory that like Devil's Tower was more like a tree stump than a mountain. That it looks
yeah,
like tree bark. It's and there's other ones similar to that that even look like they have rings in the rock that would look like growth rings of a tree. And if they were trees, they would be around 10 miles tall. Is what they guesstimate. One article I read said, but I find that very interesting because I think that our world has changed pretty incredibly and fundamentally throughout the aeons it's been around, and it wouldn't surprise me even a little if there were these giant world trees all over the place. You never know.
and gold veins. It turns out that the veins of certain rocks are veins, and the Native Americans say that pipestone. They didn't say it represents the blood of the ancestors. They say it is the blood of the ancestors. Pipestone.
Oh,
Roger would probably agree with that because he says that the red stuff that you see was because of the red blood. The iron oxide is from the blood of giants.
hmm.
So anywhere you see a bunch of red soil, and then clay comes from the skin cells.
Hmm.
So
That's
anytime you have, so I'm sitting here in Ohio, and I'm hearing this thing about mold toxicity, which I think is really most of my problem here
okay.
is mold toxicity, because it can do a lot of damage. So I think that's really why I have a lot of the issues I do with my health when
Hmm.
they show up is the
Sure.
mold toxin, being trapped in with that. But here in Ohio, it's hard to find a place without mold because it is very clayey. Now,
Oh,
according to Roger, this clay is from deceased ancient huge creatures.
well,
And I'm thinking, what?
that's
Yeah.
I mean, that's bizarre. I don't know what to think of that. That's because it's not that deep. Most clay is really right on the surface, so I'm not sure what to think of that claim. But I guess anything's possible. But that one seems pretty far out there, even for me.
You're right. It is usually you can find it like just under the surface of the soil,
Right.
but he says kaolin clay is made out of the same stuff as skin. and that clay is skin of ancient animals. And that he's found things that look like hair follicles that are like giant hair follicles. Giant hairs. And then he showed a microscopic picture of hairs. And it does look exactly like that.
Yeah.
And some of these things, they'd be the size of trees. It's whoa.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to know.
So we got to do that because that just spins my head, and I'd love to see what other people say about all of this. Because,
just reach out to me on Facebook, and we'll schedule it. But you're hard to get a hold of, so let me know.
I know. I'm so sorry. I've been trying to be on more, and I've been trying to be like I call you, and when I call you, I'm trying to be here, and I'm in here. I'm in chat.
No, I know, and that's wonderful. I mean, I'd love to do the show, but just let me know when you have time. You tell me on what Friday night you want to do it, and we'll just do it. It's really up to your schedule. My schedule is not really that busy, so I'm going to be here doing the shows. So if there's a Friday that works out for you, just let me know.
I'm also looking to do another couple of possible guests that you might want. So
okay, cool.
I'll talk to you about that too. And some designs for T-shirts because, by golly, we've got Portal Pride here.
I got
we
another.
should all be wearing.
We do, yeah, and by all means, everybody check out the Teespring store, and the link is in the description of the YouTube video. So check it out; it would sure help us out. It really helps us out a ton. But I do have another call on hold, Diane.
Right. Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you like the show, will you please like the show? Okay.
God bless you. I love you.
I love you too, dear. Bye-bye.
Right. We'll talk to you soon. All right, and we got one more call here, and this is, I think it's Nick. Is this Nick?
Yes, it is.
Well, I missed you. How you been, brother?
I've been pretty good. How you been doing?
Good. It's great to hear from you. What's going on in your world lately?
Quite a bit, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, I'm still writing on my book. I'm still trying to figure out what ominous is. But anyway, one thing that came over me is that I need to call in tonight, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I had a poem that I wanted to read to you. And this goes way back to at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
And it's about basically becoming who you are.
Oh, wonderful.
When it comes to learning about your opening, when it comes to about getting to this realm of spirituality, the supernatural, everything.
Okay.
And for some reason tonight, as you were talking, a thought came over me about how I was when I was a child.
Okay.
When I had these thoughts and then these pulls as a child.
Sure.
And this is kind of difficult to read. I know you're low on time.
No, we got as much time as you want, brother. It's my show. We can go as long as I want.
Well, okay, good. When I was a child, I want to go back, I guess, a little bit in deeper detail. Then I was adopted. I didn't have the best of parents.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a stage in my life when I was I want to say 3-4 years old, where
you're talking about your biological.
And my biological.
Was wonderful.
Yes, my adoptive parents were wonderful. My biological parents, not so great.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But one day, a few years ago, I was sleeping and a vision came over me of a wolf. And this wolf said that he has been with me his entire life. And I woke up and I wrote this poem, and so I just want to share this poem. I don't know why tonight, but I do.
Okay, by all means.
And I called the poem "The Summoned Gift." And he says, so here I am, standing for you, out of the shadows before your feet, in the true form you were not expecting. What will you do? Will you tame me, or will you control me? Did you forget there was more than one kind of the species that howl at the night, or howl to you at the night? Of the two sides living inside of you, have you finally realized which of the two have survived? And this comes, now I remember where it comes from. You know, which one you're going to feed. You mentioned it earlier.
Yes.
He said, which one have you fed the most? And which one have you weakened? Which one have you turned your back on? No more secrets. The years have rolled by in too much of a blur. You know the truth. You only need to accept it. I cannot live outside of you, and you cannot live outside of me. We have known this all along, since the day I was brought into your soul. Oh, how have you have grown, young one? Yet you still remain hidden. Through the shimmer of anger vibrating the air, within the screams of pain, begging for forgiveness of a merciless hands that came down upon you, that is when it surged towards you. Stale smoke swirled around me as I moved through this cockroach-filled kitchen. The rips in the holes, and the rips in the screen doors. And then I found you in the shadows of the night, where I could see hidden in the putrid wheat the terrified pools of blue eyes staring back towards the plague you were born into. You invited me. You created me. You befriended me. Think twice, think hard, think long, and make sure of your true needs. Be true to them before you set fire to the wheat dancing in the dark winds before your eyes. Be true to them before giving back the gift, because I am the gift, and I am the gift that was given to you. Accept me or deny me. What do you wish? You can hear, you can experience, and you can see, but only if you truly accept the gift. And that was it.
That's beautiful. Wow. That's really powerful.
And like I said, I don't know why it came over tonight that I need to say this. I don't know if somebody else out there who are fighting themselves with their gifts. These gifts to speak with spirits, these gifts to understand the unknown, to communicate and help them cross over, the supernatural. Many people have gifts and they don't accept them.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, I never accepted mine. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think there's many people who watch your podcast. I watched your podcast today, and then it came over tonight to come here to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's many people who don't accept the gift they were given, and they see this gift as a curse. I don't want to hear these voices. I don't want to see these images. I don't want to see these blurry images floating around me. I don't want to feel this energy. But yet they were given this gift for a reason.
Yeah.
To help people simply cross home, help these spirits find a place to go.
Right.
And they need to accept it, that this gift was given to them for a purpose. And I think what I just said was actually what needed to be said. So
That's beautiful.
uh, I'm
That's
sorry to take this so much time. It just
it's you've got all the
and,
time you
and,
want.
and do what?
It doesn't matter what time we are at in the show. If you have something you want to share, we'll keep going until you're done sharing it, and that goes for anybody that calls in. I'm happy that, and I'm honored when all of y'all, and you of course included, choose to use this as a forum to share those beauties, those beautiful things, and those wisdoms and those insights, because we all benefit from them, and me included. So don't ever think twice about calling in, or don't even worry about the clock. I'm just happy and honored to experience that.
Okay, well, I do, and you're right. I shouldn't do that, but I do. We are born as in a society of you must obey the rules. You must follow what those before you have said before you, and you cannot question. You cannot do anything. You must follow these rules, and it's true. It gets in our heads that we must do this.
Right.
And but I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that.
No,
And
it's
I feel what I needed to say tonight was needed to be said, and I just hope whoever was out there that was reading this realizes that they also need to let go of that past that they were born into and do what they need to do.
it's
And,
hard.
and that's basically it.
It's really hard to get rid of self-limiting behaviors, especially when they're hammered into us, and at our young and impressionable times. It's hard to expand beyond them, because there's always we're always that child. We're always that child that's looking for that light and that permission, and it's incredibly liberating when we can get to those stages where we're like, I can give myself permission. I can be that voice, and that's okay. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, it is. And as he's saying, and it's like, we grew up in a society that you have to follow these rules, and and these rules get broken, you're going to get in trouble. And that's the way it was. And I think that's where it came with this poem that I wrote. It was like this wolf came to me, letting me know that it's okay to be different.
Hmm.
And yeah, maybe you got beat.
Yeah.
Maybe you have scars on your back, and you got scars in your leg, and you got scars in your shoulders. But you know what? Those scars do not make up who you are.
Right.
Those scars are a part of the past, and you can create your own future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So accept these gifts that the gods have given you, or the divine has given, what you want to say, and go forward. Quit looking at the past
Hmm.
and move forward.
Yeah. And you're
And that,
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
so thank you. Thank you for taking my call, Matt.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Nick, and say hello to the missus, and good to hear from you.
Okay, she's right here. She said thank you.
Okay.
Hello,
All right. Good night, guys.
and good night. And
Okay.
everybody else, good night. We'll talk to y'all later.
Okay. See ya. Very cool. See, those are my favorite shows. Always my favorite shows are when you guys are part of the journey. I mean, I know you're all part of a journey, and you don't have to call in to be a part of the journey, but I just love hearing what you guys think. I love hearing your thoughts, your reflections, and it doesn't always have to be ghost stories. It doesn't always have to be a UFO story or a Bigfoot story. Sometimes it can just be, this is what worked for me when I was having the hardest time. And because I really feel like this is a family. Like this is our cocoon of sorts. Maybe, I don't know, but we seem to we seem to grow together, and to me, again, it's just a real honor to be doing a show that you guys want to participate with and to be a part of. And I'm always humbled by that, but always incredibly grateful for that as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the ride tonight. I guess we don't have much more time left. Again, we can go as long as we want, but I do have some things I got to do now. Tomorrow's night show, if I do it correctly, it'll start at 7 as normal, and I've already recorded it. I recorded it last night to play tomorrow because I won't be here live, but the show will be on at 7. The chat room should work. I read some really cool stories. I think it'll be wonderful. I'm going to probably check in on the show myself. I may or may not be back home by that time. I'm not sure, but just to be safe, it's all set up and ready to go. But if I am back home, of course, I'll be in here and chat with you guys, and it'll be kind of weird because I can just chat, and the show will do what it does. But otherwise, if I'm not here, I'll be checking in from wherever I am, and I hope you guys tune in tomorrow night, 7 p.m., because there will be a Bedtime Stories. And we'll see if I can sort out how to schedule a show on YouTube or not. But I love you all. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. So tomorrow night the show will go on. It's already happened, but it'll be broadcast tomorrow. And of course, Don and I will be back on Wednesday for more of this. But remember, Friday, Mrs. Deborah Varner is going to join us and do free readings to callers of the show, of the live show. So if you want to be a part of that and get a reading of your own, it'll be 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday night. So tune in and check it out. And I hope you guys will take advantage of that. It's always an amazing show when Deb does what Deb does. And so good night, everybody. Take care. Thanks for being here. And oh, yeah, you're welcome, Virginia. It's always great to hear from you. Happy anniversary. Oh, no, it's not an anniversary. Our anniversary is in, when the hell is our anniversary? It's in February, I think. Oh, God, don't do this to me. I can't. It's not the anniversary. It's not our anniversary. I'll just say that. So, but we are going out to meet some friends and stuff. So anyway, love you guys. Have a great night. Thanks, Gemini. You just immortalized that on YouTube. Oh, well, no, it's fine. All right. Good night, guys. Love you, and sweet dreams.